Warnock wins in Georgia. He has defeated Herschel Walker, who is all kinds of messed up as a candidate, um, to remain senator from Georgia, which brings the Democrats to 51 seats in the Senate, and that is generally, it doesn't really change much. It makes the confirmation of judges for Biden more likely because he's got that extra vote to sort of tell Joe Manchin to kick rocks, or it gives him a buffer if Kristen Sinema actually does decide to switch parties, because apparently that's a thing that she's doing now. And but it won't change. It doesn't change the dynamics overall much of anything. It's still going to be a gridlocked House It's still going to be a gridlocked House and Senate because the House is Republican, the Senate is not, and the House has basically zero congressmen that are willing to jump ship and vote against the party line, and the party line in the House is ridiculously extreme to the right. Like nothing they want to do will garner, or nothing that the Democrats would like to do will gain any bipartisan support from the Republicans in the House, unless what they're currently trying to do is government funding and increasing the military budget. That's about it. So basically all that's going to happen is from here on out will be a lot of annoying things, a bunch of stupid investigations from the Republicans, maybe a few that are legit, but mostly stupid, because that's what happens every time the Republicans get into office. They do a bunch of stupid investigations about a bunch of Democrats, and then nothing happens because it turns out that most of the Democrats are probably corrupt to the point where they could be prosecuted if there was someone with big enough testicles to prosecute them. But if the Republicans were the ones to start the prosecutions, it's going to come back on them because almost all of them are more corrupt than the Democrats are as an aggregate. There's some Democrats who are are very limited in their corruption to not corrupted at all, but there's a lot of them who are very corrupt. But it sort of seems to be a blanket statement about the Republicans that if you run in the Republican Party in Congress, the House of Representatives, and you win, if you're not corrupt when you get there, your political leanings will make you corrupt very quickly. Once you get a foot in the door and the money starts to flow from all the people who want to pay you to do what they want to do, you will take the money. And Republicans would almost certainly be shooting themselves in the foot if they started prosecuting Democrats for any kind of corruption. So they do bullshit investigations about the same stuff over and over again, like the Benghazi hearings with Clinton. They did the same hearing like 9 times. It never changed the whole time they did it. It was the same argument over and over again. That didn't result in any legal problems for Clinton, because when it was investigated by the FBI, the same FBI that was investigating her for emails that was widely considered by the legal community to be a big nothing burger right about 2016, or right around the election in 2016. So not the FBI that's particularly friendly to Clinton. That same FBI was the one that was like, yeah, nothing happened in Benghazi. That is illegal. Not particularly advisable, but not advisable is not illegal. Plenty of people do not advisable things all the time. Does that make it right? No. Does it make it worthy of 9 House investigations to try to find criminal activity where you've already proven there isn't criminal activity? No. And that's how the Republicans are going to be the entire time. But so that's basically where we're at. It's going to be a lot of annoying things. Maybe some judges get passed, but no legislation is going to get through, especially with the filibuster still intact in the Senate. I mean, you don't need the House to get rid of the filibuster, so maybe there's a chance that the Democrats will vote to overturn the filibuster, maybe in some limited scope case or something like that. But more than likely, it just means the next 2 years are going to be annoying from a governmental standpoint. Um, However, there are some interesting things to come out of the Georgia runoff. One of which is Raphael Warnock only won with 51.4% of the vote to Herschel Walker's 48.6. This means that a significant portion of voters that voted for the Libertarian candidate that prevented Warnock or Herschel Walker from getting 50% of the vote in the general election, which forced the two of them to go to a runoff. A significant portion of them went to Warnock, which I thought would happen because if you're not voting for Herschel Walker, you're probably aggressively against Herschel Walker. Just because of the way the Republican Party is like sycophantic for these like Trump candidates and stuff. I don't come across many people, even Republicans, who dislike Trump, but dislike him less than a sort of standard Democratic politician. It seems to be that if you're a Republican and you dislike Trump, it's basically anybody but Trump. And Herschel Walker was like the Trumpiest of the Trump candidates up for Senate election, although he definitely wasn't the smartest of the Trump candidates. I very rarely will I bring up the intelligence of somebody in an election, but Herschel Walker, woohoo, that guy is something else, man. Like you go watch his debates with Warnock, and man, he broke simple rules by flashing a fake police badge at the Senate at the debate. It was against the rules. He was told the rules: don't bring any props. You're not allowed to bring signs. You're not allowed to bring, any sort of thing to use. All you get to do is a pen, a paper, some water. That's it. No props at all. And yet he pulls a fake police badge out of his pocket and flashes it on stage. What? And then his answers are like unintelligible. He's got constant controversy coming out between like he's anti-abortion, but he's had women get abortions. It's like his constant inability to say anything other than Democrats bad and Republicans good. Like he has no position. He's just anti-Democrat, and he doesn't even. I don't think he even knows why he's anti-Democrat. I think he just has like a gut feeling, and that gut feeling got him through the primary. So, but regardless, Warnock only picked up like it's like 2 or 3%, because he was pushing 50. He was pushing 50% in the general. He just didn't quite get there. So he only picked up a couple of percentage points. And Herschel Walker got almost exactly the same percentage point. And those two things means that a lot of libertarian candidates, or libertarian-leaning voters, voted for Herschel Walker. They couldn't vote for the Libertarian because the runoff system knocked him out. So instead, they voted for Herschel Walker. And I really did not see that coming. I was almost positive Warnock was going to win because he was already ahead. And the only thing that could possibly happen, in my mind, was he would widen his lead by pulling over the Republicans who are like, absolutely not anybody but Trump. And that's true, but there still seems to be a piece of the sort of like anti-Trump Republicans, which is not a very large part of the Republicans, admittedly, but it's enough to help put somebody over the edge, like Warnock. Or Walker. But quite a few of them did go for Walker, and I didn't see that coming. I thought obviously there would be some, but I didn't think it would be enough to keep Warnock under like 53%. I thought Warnock was going to crack like 53, 54. But apparently there's still some shy Trump supporters out there that would rather have somebody else, but given the alternative being a Democrat, they're going to go for the Republican. No matter who it is, just Republican. And it's encouraging that Warnock won, but it is a little discouraging that he didn't win by a wider margin given the candidate that he was up against and the aggressive disdain like huge portions of the country have for Trump and Trump's candidates. I mean, almost all of them lost. Very, very few of them won. Something like 9 out of 10 of the candidates Trump endorsed lost this cycle, which is impressive for a fresh ex-president. Normally, when a president leaves office, they get a little bit of a boost in their approval rating, but not Trump. So that's interesting. You know, it didn't change my prediction that I thought Warnock would pick up some percentage points from the libertarian vote, but it wasn't as much as I thought. So, you know, you learn every time one of these things happens. But also, Georgia broke their record for one-day early voting again. They broke it during the general, and they broke it again in the runoff. To break the early day voting record in a runoff is impressive, and let alone break the all-time early voting record, like more than any presidential election in the past. Like, presidential elections don't get as many votes as this runoff did, which means Georgia they were locked into what was going on with this. And that's good. I mean, it's good. You want more people to vote. And I don't say it's good just because having more people vote helps Democrats. It's just good in general. Like, if you're a fan of democracy, the more people voting, the better it is for the country. And if your particular views don't jive with the majority opinion of the people, then hit the pavement. Get your ass out on the street and try to change some hearts and minds. But, you know, if you can't, going to be relegated to the minority. That's just the way it works. You either put in the work and adjust your views and try to find the truth and try to become a good orator to prove your point and to get people over to your side, or you suck it up and you end up in the minority. Like, that's democracy, baby. That's how it should work. And the more people that come out to vote, the closer we get to that ideal situation. And Georgia did a pretty good job, you know, compared to how it normally goes in the United States. They had Georgia topped its one-day record for early voting again on Friday, with more than 350,000 voters casting their vote in the runoff election between Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker. Gabriel Sterling, one of the state's top election officials in his capacity as chief operating officer of the Georgia Secretary of State's office, announced on Twitter that 350,574 people had voted on Friday as of 8 p.m. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And it's important. It's important that we remember that the more what am I thinking? The more out in the public eye the politics of the country gets, regardless of if the politics of that country are like productive or not. It gets people thinking about things, and if it gets people thinking about things, that means they're more entitled to action. And it seems to be that people lean towards being a little bit being more reasonable the more people you bring in. The more disaffected people are, the easier it is for radical groups of people to exert their power upon the country. Hence the reason why Republicans make up like 30% of the aggregate population of the United States. And despite that they're only like 30% of the population, the rest are Democrats and independents, they absolutely dominate elections on years with low turnout, because the Republicans, for all their rhetoric about the liberals and the left being the radical ones, they are the radical party. They are the ones that are pushing fear. They're pushing extensive government change. They're pushing, the loss of rights towards varying people. That is inarguable. They want rights to be harder to use, to take advantage of. They want it to be harder to vote. They want it to be harder to, demand your rights from police. They want it to be harder to, get your right to abortion. They want to be more restrictive on gay marriage. They want to be more restrictive on, who can move where, who can be where. Some of these are more extreme than others, and admittedly don't have support from the Republican Party as a whole, but the Democratic Party don't tend to vote in such a way that limits your freedom. Like, they may have anti-discrimination laws, but they're not coming out there and telling you can't go vote. They're not coming out there and telling you that we should redo an election. Even election, the shadiest election that we have had in probably 50 years, when Bush won over Al Gore in Florida and all that shite went down. Al Gore just was like, yeah, okay, all right, fine, I lost. He probably shouldn't have said that, but he did. And the Republicans just, because he respects the rights of the people. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, maybe in that case it would have been an exception where he maybe should have fought, but ultimately still he was like, will of the people says Bush becomes president, I'll step down. And it's that's the difference. And that radicalness creates a sense of urgency in that 30% of voters. So they come out. They're afraid that their whole world is going to end tomorrow if the big evil liberal Democrat manages to get one slight more iota of passage through. I know people that think the United States is straight up gonna run out of diesel because somebody told them on their Republican news network that the United States only has 5 days of diesel left. It's not how that works. That's not the United States will never run out of diesel. We are the richest country on earth, and we also produce a lot of diesel. So if push comes to shove, we'll just buy more diesel. It's not like Zimbabwe can outbid us. Could the price of diesel go up? Yes, but we're not going to run out. But this is why they come out to vote, but because they're only 30% of the country, the more of that 70% that isn't Republican that you can pull away from the disaffected mindset just helps the competition for that 30%. And that's what we should be enjoying right now, talking about the Georgia runoff election, is people are engaged. 350,000 is still, pretty pitiful compared to the population of Georgia, but breaking records is breaking records, baby. Just people got to come out to vote. The more people that come out to vote, the less likely that 30% radical views is to become law in the country. The less judges get on the panels. And that's a big hurdle right now for anything to change, is the judges are just brutally slapping down things for completely partisan political reasons, even though that's not what they're supposed to do. Just go read the I did it on stream in case you want to watch it a little while ago. I read some of the opinion. I think it was an opinion, maybe, I don't know. Regardless, an 8th district court judge struck down Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, and the brief that he wrote about why he did it is it's straight up Republican propaganda. And this dude is a judge on the second highest court in the country. And it's man, that wouldn't have happened if a huge chunk of the country wasn't disaffected and just didn't go out and vote. I mean, I hate to agree with Obama in this situation, but you know, you got to vote, man. Like complaining about stuff don't help. It just doesn't.